When British troops stormed Normandy in June 1944, they still carried a rifle whose roots reach back to the 1890s, the short magazine Lee Enfield, SMLE. Meanwhile, German soldiers commonly used the Gewehr 98-derived Karabiner 98k, K98k, a precise modern bolt action. On paper, the K98k's accuracy and tighter engineering looked superior, yet across campaigns from World War I through World War II, many Commonwealth soldiers preferred and retained their Lee Enfields. This summary explains why. Practical battlefield requirements often trumped engineering elegance, design origins, and philosophy. The Lee Enfield grew from James Paris Lee's detachable box magazine concept combined with rifling developments at Enfield. First appearing in various forms in the late 19th century and standardized as the SMLE Mark 3 by 1907, the rifle emphasized rate of fire, durability, and field serviceability over absolute long-range precision. By contrast, the Mauser 98 family, perfected around 1898 and embodied in the K98k, stressed tight tolerances, strong front-locking lugs, and controlled feed mechanisms to support high accuracy at long ranges. Each design reflected different philosophies. The British prioritized rapid practical fire in real combat conditions. The Germans prioritized marksmanship and precision. Key practical advantages of the Lee Enfield 1. Rate of fire and the Mad Minute. The SMLE featured a rear locking bolt and a shorter bolt throw with a 60-degree handle angle. These features, plus a smooth action and detachable 10-round magazine, allowed trained soldiers to deliver exceptionally rapid aimed fire, the famous Mad Minute, 15 aimed rounds per minute as the standard. Skilled soldiers could push far higher. Rapid sustained rifle fire produced effects on the battlefield normally associated with automatic weapons, notably at Mons, August 23, 1914, where British rifle volleys halted German advances. 2. Magazine capacity and reload speed. A 10-round detachable box magazine versus the K98k's 5-round internal magazine supplied from stripper clips made a decisive difference in sustained engagements. Quick magazine changes, seconds, versus slower clip reloads, translated to greater continuous suppressive fire from British sections. 3. Tolerance, reliability, and environmental resilience. Deliberately looser manufacturing tolerances made the SMLE more forgiving of mud, sand, ice, and dirt. Common in World War I trenches, desert campaigns, jungles, and Arctic operations. The rear-locking design demanded longer bolt travel but was easier to cycle under fouled conditions, while the Mauser's tight front locking lugs could seize when debris accumulated near the chamber. 4. Practical features for field use. Magazine cutoff allowed single-shot fire with the magazine in reserve, offering tactical flexibility. A beveled, roomy magazine well and user-friendly magazine catch made reloads easy by feel, even under stress. Walnut stocks used by the SMLE were softer and more shock-absorbing than some denser woods on Mauser rifles. They survived improvised use, hammering, prying, more often without dangerous cracks. Drainage and simpler magazine geometry helped keep water and contaminants from pooling inside the action. Training and doctrine. British musketry emphasized rapid, practical shooting. Recruits trained extensively at various firing positions, rapid reloading, range estimation, and sight usage. Germans emphasized precision-aimed fire. Their doctrine and training produced excellent individual marksmanship, but slower sustained fire rates per soldier. The differences in doctrine meant British units could generate a high volume of effective fire from rifles alone, supplementing fewer machine guns, whereas German units relied more on machine guns for the volume of fire. Combat evidence across theaters, Western Front, World War I. Trench conditions favored weapons that kept working when dirty. The SMLE's practical advantages demonstrated themselves repeatedly. Desert, North Africa. Sand and temperature swings amplified the benefits of loose tolerances. British and Commonwealth troops found their rifles continued to function after storms and extreme heat-cold cycles where other rifles needed careful maintenance. Jungle and monsoon, Burma Pacific. Persistent moisture, mud, and corrosion favored weapons that tolerated fouling without immediate failure. Arctic/winter, running the SMLE. Dry allowed operation in extreme cold where tighter weapons with thickened lubricants became difficult to operate. Tactical impact and unit-level mathematics. A British infantry section of 10 men, each with a 10-round magazine, could lay down roughly twice the immediate sustained rifle fire of an equivalent German squad before reloads. In short engagements, this difference multiplied exponentially across platoons and battalions. Faster reloading and the ability to carry preloaded magazines improved continuity of fire. During reloading pauses, German soldiers were more vulnerable. Why soldiers kept their SMLEs? Practical battlefield experience, not nostalgia. Captured Mausers were admired, tried, and often set aside in favor of soldiers' own Enfields. First-hand testimonies from North Africa, Normandy, Burma, and elsewhere echo a consistent pattern. The SMLE worked in varied, harsh conditions and delivered what soldiers most needed: reliable, rapid fire. Repair and longevity records showed fewer catastrophic stock failures and more rifles returned functional under heavy use. Design trade-offs and limits. The Mauser's advantages were real: superior long-range precision, robust front locking, and a controlled feed extractor that minimized some failure modes. For snipers and deliberate long-range shoots, the Mauser was often superior. However, the realities of 20th century infantry combat, closer ranges, suppression fire, artillery dominance, and combined arms, reduced the practical value of those advantages for the average rifleman. Legacy and lessons. Lee Enfield's longevity, active service into the late 20th century in many countries, underscores the importance of designing for the operational environment rather than maximizing specifications. Later small arms debates echoed the same lessons. Overly tight tolerances and paper excellence can fail in mud, dust, or inadequate logistic support. Examples include early M16 issues in Vietnam. Systems like the AK-47 applied the principle of generous tolerances for reliability under abuse. Modern Doctrine's emphasis on volume of fire and close-range effectiveness reflects a long-evolved understanding of what infantrymen actually need. Conclusion. The Lee Enfield's century-long service record resulted not from blind conservatism but from a pragmatic fit between design choices, training doctrine, and the messy realities of war. While the Mauser K98k represented an engineering high-water mark in bolt-action design, the SMLE optimized for the conditions soldiers faced daily. That practical edge, rapid, reliable fire tuned to realistic combat ranges and service conditions, explains why so many soldiers preferred their Enfields even when superior-appearing captured rifles were available. The Lee Enfield teaches an enduring lesson: effectiveness in the field often outweighs theoretical superiority on the range. References and further reading, original source text condensed into this summary. For deeper study, see books on the SMLE, Mauser design histories, and operational musketry manuals from World War I to World War II.